sleigh ride together with you. Outside the snow is falling and friends are calling you. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you.
Hey everybody, I'm your host, Professor Khalil Amani here. We talking about Christmas today, paganism, the imagination of children. Yeah, that's what we talking about. Why Christmas is a good thing. Facts upon facts. Let's get started. Let's get started. You know, African Americans, black people, color folk, descendants of slaves, we got it hard, y'all. We really got it hard. I mean, we can't. I mean, we are being told. I mean, it's bad enough we have been through slavery and Reconstruction and Jim Crow and segregation and redlining and racism and prejudice and unequal housing, unequal education, second-class citizenry. I mean, we have been through some shit in this country as black folk. And now we're being told, or we have been told, that we can't even enjoy Christmas. I mean, they do us so dirty. I mean, we got to be the only people in the world, damn near, who got stipulations on festivities and good time. They got stipulations on us. Every other nation can practice their holy days, their high holy festivals, their religious belief festivals, their nationalistic festivals. We are the only people, I believe, as far as I can tell, black folk, we are put on the defense. We are made to feel bad about things like Christmas and Thanksgiving, Easter, Halloween. I mean, they do us dirty, y'all. Can't we do something without being penalized or cheated out of or talked about or made to feel like we're not conscious? I mean, the black man, the woman, the children, they do us dirty, y'all. We are criticized for we can't even go to a Thanksgiving dinner. Oh, no. Don't go meet your family at Thanksgiving. That's you're celebrating the white man's killing of the Indians. Oh. Don't go to Christmas dinner. Don't meet all your family at Christmas time and give presents. No. It's paganism. It's a white man's holiday. I mean, can't black folk get any, not only that, we have a holiday called Kwanzaa, created by black people. And the honest truth is, black folk really aren't into Kwanzaa. Not en masse. A few scattered here, but even Kwanzaa has never picked up. An original holiday created for black folk to celebrate the black aesthetic, the black cultural heritage. And most black people aren't aware of Kwanzaa and the 7 different concepts. We're just not into it. But we can't have, we hard, man. I mean, black folk, these pro-black, pan-Africanists, black liberationists, black conscious community, Hebrew Israelites, Moors, indigenous, I suspect foundational black Americans, but I don't know that for a fact. Nobody wants black folk to just enjoy life and celebrate holidays. I'm talking about amongst the conscious folks, so-called. Now, mind you, the masses of black people, the most of black people have no problem with Christmas and Easter and Thanksgiving and Halloween. I'm talking to, because I'm around these conscious community circles, so I'm speaking to this minority. They are a minority. You do know that they're a minority. I'm speaking to this minority of black folk. I think there's something so illegitimate, deadly, something wrong, something unsalvific about Christmas. And I want to talk to you all about it. If I had my way, if I was God, I would take every one of these pro-black, pan-Africanists, black liberationists, black conscious community, Hebrew Israelite or Israelite, foundational black Americans if need be, indigenous blacks, black Indians. I would take all of y'all and I would put you in a bus. A Back to the Future bus. Some of y'all might not remember the movie Back to the Future, but it was a movie that came out 1985. Michael J. Fox. His name was Marty McFly. And Marty McFly had a DeLorean car that was rigged up that he could get in and go back in time. If I had my way, if I had the power, every one of you black adults who are against Christmas, that had a Christmas as a child, I would put you in a Back to the Future bus and take you back to your childhood. And soon as you got ready to unwrap your presents, I'd snatch them all from you. In your face, in your mama and daddy's faces, I'd snatch all your gifts. The little bike, you can't have it. The doll, you can't have. The Mattel Hot Wheel cars, you can't have. The G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip, you can't have it. And they start crying, all you motherfuckers that are adults today that are against Christmas, that had a Christmas, you start crying, and I would say, shut your mouth, shut your tears. And they go, why I can't have my Tonka truck? Why I can't have my Schwinn Stingray? Why I can't have the Kung Fu, the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip? I said, because one day in your future, you are going to reject Christmas and you are going to be an opponent of Christmas. And you are going to suggest that no children have Christmas. You're going to do that one day in the future. So for that, you don't get to have Christmas right now. And all the little kids, they'll be looking at me like, who is this guy and how does he know what I'm going to think in the future? Well, I'm Marty McFly. I'm Back to the Future. And I've already gone to the future and saw you. Oh, if I could. Every one of you that are opposed to Christmas today, that had a Christmas, that opened up toys on Christmas morning, that couldn't hardly sleep on Christmas Eve, every one of you that got up before the sun came up and ran in the living room and started going mad crazy, tearing wrappers off of packages and seeing your toys and laughing and smiling. And mom and daddy heard you in the room from their bedroom. They still sleep. They said, come on, let's get up. The kids are up. And they got up and they enjoyed sitting on the couch watching their children open their presents from Santa Claus. Mama went in there and started making breakfast, bacon and eggs, pancakes, getting a nice breakfast together. Daddy sat there and smiled at his kids enjoying their presents. Oh, what a beautiful morning Christmas mornings are. And within an hour or so, you've eaten and you're outside and you ride on your bike. You riding on your big wheel. You got new basketballs and footballs. You got the latest sneakers. You're one of those Jordan 5s. You got your Jordans. Got that dope, jersey. You out there flossing and flaunting with the neighborhood kids. Oh, what great times they were. But if I could have my way, All of you black conscious folks, all of you Pan-Africanists, all of you Hebrews, all of you Israelites, all of you Hebrew Israelites, all of you Moors, all of you, black liberation, black power types, all of you adults that had Christmases when you were children, but now you've grown up and you think Christmas is a farce and a white man's holiday. All of you, I would put you in a Marty McFly DeLorean bus, and I would take you back to the year when you were about 6. All of y'all. I'd take you back to 6 or 7 years old. And I'd stand there in the corner and just wait for you to try to open your presents. I say, stop. And everybody in the house would look at me like, who is this guy over here in the corner telling us to stop opening presents? I am the ghost of Christmas future. As in the Scrooge. I'll be the ghost of Christmas future. And again, I would tell all these kids, you little 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, I tell them all, in all your families, I tell all of y'all. As a matter of fact, I'd say, if it's a household of 5 kids, and 4 of them grew up to still practice Christmas, and 1 didn't, I say 1, 2, 3, 4. You 4 children continue opening your presents. You, young man, you don't get to open your presents. I go around all the houses in every community in America and find all the black liberationists today. All the black power, all the Pan-Africanists, all the pro-blacks, all of the people that are against paganism and Christmas today. Oh, I'd go to your house when you were 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't care if it's 10 of y'all. 9 of them can open presents, but you can't open presents because you're going to grow up to reject Christmas. You're going to grow up to be the opponent and the ops of the Christmas joy and the Christmas spirit. So you little Johnny, yeah, you 7-year-old Johnny, go into your bedroom, going outside, don't open a goddamn present. Because a day coming, Johnny, when you are going to reject Christmas. So I'm letting you know what your future is. So since 15 years from now, you're going to be against this practice, drop what you got and take your ass on, and you don't get to practice Christmas. Because one day you won't want to practice Christmas. Oh, how wonderful that would be if we could round up all these folks today that are anti-Christmas. Oh, we could round them up and take them back to their childhoods, to Christmas morning, and tell them they cannot open their presents because in the future they will be anti-Christmas. That's a great movie. Man, somebody ought to make a movie like that. The Christmas that was not. All black cast. Get Tyler Perry in on this thing. All black cast. Show the movie starts out, all these old black people, middle-aged black people condemning Christmas. Christmas is a pagan holiday. It's the white man's holiday. Show them in all of their vitriol and venom against the white man's Christmas holiday. Jesus wasn't born on December 25th. They say he was born in the fall or the spring, but he wasn't born in the winter. The Bible says that the shepherds were tending the flock. They would not have been attending the flock on December 25th. It would have been too cold in Jerusalem to do such a thing. All the stuff we know now. Oh, what a great movie. And then all of a sudden, a big-ass Marty McFly DeLorean bus pulls up to their crib as they're adults and say, come on, we need you to go with us. They get on the bus and go back to the year 1983, 1980, 1977, whatever. When you were kids and shit. And then let you get off and let it be like December 24th. And when you get back in that time, you are no longer your real age. You're back to the age you were in that year. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then, on Christmas morning, the ghost of Christmas future, you can name him Khalil Amani. It's my ideal. The ghost of Christmas morning, Khalil, comes and says, I'm sorry, but you can't open your presents, young man, because one day you will be an opposition. You will be the ops of this holy and festive and grand day called Christmas. One day you will call this paganism. One day you reject the ideal of families getting together for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. One day you will reject the ideal of giving gifts and sharing gifts. One day you will be against the ideal of Santa Claus, Jesus born on the 25th of December. You will be against all of that. So for those reasons, little Johnny, you cannot celebrate Christmas ever. We don't want you to be a hypocrite. So now you know what it feels like. That's kind of shit that be in my mind. That's right. And this ideal, here's the weirdest ideal of all, going beyond everything I just said. When Christians who don't celebrate Christmas, when black nationalists and Pan-Africanists and so-called conscious people and Hebrew Israelites and Moors and indigenous folks don't practice Christmas, even though 99% of them, 99% of people that become Hebrew Israelites, 99% of people who become black conscious, black nationalists, Pan-Africanists, 99% of them, they had wonderful Christmases themselves. 99% of them. I damn near want to say 100%, but most of them, the overwhelming majority of people who join the Israelite movement, the Hebrew Israelite movement, become pro-black, wear kente cloth and dashikis and pour libations for dinner and shit like that. Pro-black conscious motherfuckers, super religious or super historical, who know all the ins and outs of why this is a pagan holiday. You know those folks. Here's the weird shit. Let me get more specific. Let's talk about the Bible believers that don't believe in Christmas. The Bible believers that don't believe in Christmas. I'm talking about the Hebrew Israelites, the Israelites. Mainly. And there's some Christians that don't believe in Christmas. But let's talk about anybody, you black power types. Let's talk about anybody who believes in the Bible but doesn't believe in Christmas. Let's get specific. Anybody who believes in the Bible but doesn't believe in Christmas. Let me talk to y'all first. You niggas have the worst justification for not believing in Christmas. You talk about Santa Claus being an old fat white man. You want to make illusions that how could one man give toys to every boy and girl in the world in one night. You know, you got these real good arguments. It's impossible for a man on a sleigh or reindeer to go to every household in America in one night and give boys and girls presents. I agree. You have good common sense when you talk about how could a fat man get down a chimney and we live in the projects and there are no chimneys. I get it. Those are good excuses. You have good rationale when it comes to the Christmas myth. The myth of a reindeer that fly. That sounds wild, doesn't it? Of course it does. I never seen a reindeer fly. Reindeer don't fly. And then got a sled with a 300-pound man And how can that sled hold enough toys for every boy and girl in the world? Not to mention, we know that there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Africans that don't get toys on Christmas morning. They just don't. They live in the Serengeti. They live in nomadic tribes on the plains of Africa, and they never see Christmas. But this Christmas myth says that the Santa Claus is going to bring toys to every good boy and girl around the world. I'm sure there's some good boys and girls in Africa. I might argue the best boys and girls might be in Africa. They don't get into, they mind their elders, they do what they're supposed to do. They help with the feeding of the young ones. They help go out and in the forest and catch wild game. I'm talking about the ones that are nomadic and tribal, not the Africans that are in the cities, but those too. A lot of people don't get gifts. But these people that are against Christmas, they would argue shit like that. They would argue, I'm talking about Bible believers, would argue with common sense that reindeers don't fly and one man can never deliver enough packages and toys to every child in the world. Fair enough. Common sense. What a great common sense argument. But these same Bible believers will tell you that in the Bible, a whole sea parted. The whole Red Sea just opened up and people walked through on dry land. Never seen it, but they believe it. These same Bible believers that don't believe in Christmas and Santa Claus, they believe that a donkey once talked in the Bible. They believe that a snake once talked in the Bible. Those things are believable by adults. And they will look at you with a straight face and say, yeah, the serpent talked to Eve in the Garden of Eden. A goddamn snake talked. A donkey talked. These same people that have all of the rationality of why Christmas is a farce, they will tell you that Jonah got swallowed up by a great fish. And he stood in that belly, he stood in the well, not the well, but he was in the belly of a great fish for 3 days and 3 nights. And lived to talk about it. Wild stories that defy our logic. But adults believe in the story of Jonah being swallowed up by a fish. These same people that are against Santa Claus and the whole Christmas myth, they believe the Bible when it talks about Lazarus being raised from the dead and Jesus being dead for 3 days and 3 nights. Straight up rigor mortis, no blood flow. And after 3 days, his blood began to flow through his veins and he got up from the dead. Wild stories that could never be substantiated. But they believe that. But the Santa story has got to go. Bible-toting Christians that can't stand Christmas, they'll stand on the story that people like Enoch and Elijah never died. They just got zapped up into heaven and away they went. Wild stories that defy what we know about the human body, that these men never died and just went to heaven. Oh, the Bible's full of fanciful tales that are believed by rational adults, yet they would turn and say Christmas has got to go. These Bible-thumping black folk who are against Christmas, they believe that Noah built a boat large enough to take 2 of every clean, or is it 7 of every clean, and 2 of every unclean thing into the boat. Let's clear that up. Guess I got it backwards. Noah, 2 people, 7 unclean. However that goes.
The instruction Noah, 2 people, 7 unclean refers to God's instructions for Noah. It means bringing one pair of unclean animals, but 7 pairs of clean animals onto the ark.
Okay,
for
I got it
survival
right.
and sacrifices after the flood.
Okay. So Noah took 7 pairs of every unclean animal and 2 pair of 7 pairs of every clean animal and 2 pair of every unclean animal. Okay? Of every species in the world, we are taught that Noah got them on the ship. How did Noah get whales on the ship? How did Noah get sharks on the ship? How did Noah keep natural predators of each other from killing one another? How did Noah keep lions and tigers separated? How did Noah keep deers out of harm's way of lions and tigers? How did he do it? How did Noah keep the fish on the ark without dying when they needed water? No matter how big the so-called ark was, it could never hold every species, 7 pair of clean species and 2 pair of every unclean species. Can never do it. It's a mathematical improbability. But these Bible thumping Christians that are against, or Bible thumpers, whether they be Christians or Hebrew Israelites, they have all of the sanity and all of the rationale to tell you why Christmas is bad and paganistic and, it's a lie, it's a myth, a red man and a fat red man in a suit. They got all of the reasons to tell you why Christmas is bad. Yet they believed in the myth of Noah's Ark. We know that the planets move around the sun. Earth does. But we have a passage in the Bible where Joshua makes the sun stand still. A universal improbability. But we are told that Joshua made the sun stop its orbit, made the earth stop its orbit. Shit just froze. The universe took a pause for the cause because of Joshua and his war. These are the kind of things we believe in, but then we talk shit about old Saint Nick. Yeah. We believe that Satan, the devil, Lucifer, Satan, that he transversed walking the earth up and down and to and fro as a regular man looking for shit, according to Job chapter 1. Job, Satan was just walking around doing whatever he wanted to do. We believe that shit. But we don't believe Santa. We believe that Satan can go around the earth, going to and fro and up and down in the earth. But we can't believe that Santa can go to and fro and up and down in the earth in a single night to deliver presents to good boys and girls. We believe that water can come from rocks, as in the days of Moses in the wilderness. How does a rock bleed water? But we believe this shit. Hell, we believe that Jesus got some water and made it into wine. And an impossibility. But Bible believers believe this stuff on one side of their face while shitting on the ideal of Christmas on the other side of their face. We believe that the prophet Elisha being bald-headed and angry because 42 children called him a bald-headed man and teased him, that he was able to pray to God and make 2 she-bears, female bears, come out the woods and absolutely kill and maul and mangle 42 children for joking about a man with no hair. We believe this shit. Yes, we do. We believe that a baby can come from between the thighs of a woman who's never had sex. We believe in the virgin birth of Jesus. That a miraculous thing happened inside the womb of a woman that never fucked. Never had her cherry popped. Never felt a man's penis. Never had cum and semen and sperm injected into her womb. But she gives a birth to a baby. We believe this kind of shit. My goodness. We believe that Ezekiel looked up into the heavens and saw flying machines that we would actually call UFOs. The stories in the Bible are far more wilder and unbelievable than the Christmas story of Santa. And some of us are so Mr. and Mrs. Scrooges that we won't even give the credit to Santa for the myth. The myth of boys and girls thinking that Santa really did get their Christmas letters, and Santa really did get them what they wanted, and Santa really did come to their house while they were sleeping. Some of us are so fucked up that we won't allow children to have imagination. We just won't do it. My first reading, I want to start with something in your Bible. Something in your Bible that backs up the ideal of children believing in Santa and fairy tales and Dr. Seuss and Mother Goose and Aesop's fables and the Tooth Fairy. Your Bible tells us, allows for children to think in these far out and grandiose imaginations. Hell, the Bible allows you adults to do it. If you believe that a snake talked as an adult, if you believe a snake talked as an adult, shut up. But the Bible allows for children to have great imaginations. Yes, it does. 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 13th chapter, verse 11, where Paul would write, "When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man or woman, I put away childish things." Christmas is a childish thing. Mother Goose is a childish thing. The Tooth Fairy is a childish thing. Santa Claus is a childish thing. Halloween is a childish thing. So Paul clearly says, when you're a child, you speak as a child. When you're a child, you understand as a child. When you're a child, you think as a child. There's a time to be a child. There's a time to like cartoons, comic books, and fables. But then it says, when I became a man, you put away childish things. I don't think so. If you believe that a virgin gave birth, that's a childish thought. If you believe that a snake talked, that's a childish thought. If you believe that a man slept in the belly of a great fish for 3 days and 3 nights, that's a childish thought. If you believe a man was dead and then rose, it's a childish thought. But the ideal of children having childish thoughts, let me tell you about the childish thoughts. Let me tell you what childish thoughts are in the here and the now. Because, Paul's a sanctimonious bastard. Paul's a sanctimonious bastard. Let me tell you what he's really talking about. What Paul is really talking about, because Paul was no psychologist. As far as we know, Paul didn't have no children. Paul was like Israel's struggle doctrine. My YouTube nemesis. A motherfucker that don't have no affections for children. But what Paul was saying, when I was a child, I thought like a child. Well, how do children think? Children have something called imagination. Imagination. Children believe that they can. Children believe that all is possible. And when you take away things like Christmas, you know what you're really doing? You're really stunting the imagination of a child. Do you know what imaginations do for children who become adults? If it were not for the imagination of children, we would not have bicycles. If it were not for the imagination of a child who became adult, we would not have automobiles and cars, trucks, motorcycles. These start with the imagination. Everything we see today in the world, material, it starts from the imagination of a child who grew up to become an adult, who imagined these things to be possible. When I was a child, I thought like a child. I had an imagination. And when a child is allowed to have an imagination, when a child is allowed to believe in Santa Claus, when a child is allowed to believe in Mother Goose, when a child is allowed to believe that rabbits lay eggs, when a child is allowed to believe that a stork brings their baby brother or sister, when a child is allowed to have an open imagination without walls and barriers, there are no possibilities. There are no impossibilities for that child as he matures into adulthood. The child who is free to imagine a Santa Claus is free to imagine one day men and women can fly in the sky. And today we have airplanes and jet aircraft. All that shit started from the imagination of some child that was able to believe their wildest dreams and imaginations and grow up and bring it to fruition. Whether we're talking about the Wright brothers at Kitty Hawk or that black brother who actually flew an airplane before the Wright brothers, I gotta get his name. But there was a black man that actually flew the first airplane before the Wright brothers at Kitty Hawk. Google it. Black man flies first. But these inventions are things that were never created, never touched, only imagined, because people believed that their imaginations can spring forth realism. Now let me say this about myself. There was a time I was with the whole fuck Christmas movement. There was a time I was with the whole fuck the pagans movement. There was a time I was against all the holidays as the white man's holidays. There's nothing that you can teach me that I don't already know about the origins of Christmas and Halloween and Easter. There's nothing you can teach me. I read it all. Barring nobody, I read it all. And having read it all about why Christmas is bad, wrong, pagan, heathen, I once fell into the same headspace. Christmas is bad. We shouldn't practice Christmas. I was there. I get it. You know, when you know better, you do better. You know, you grow up, you learn some shit. I was in that headspace in my 20s and 30s. Fuck Christmas. It's the white man's holiday. But as I began to continue to read, study, get older, have children, have grandchildren, it began to dawn on me that for me to withhold the Christmas spirit and the Christmas love from my children and grandchildren, knowing damn well that I benefited with Christmas. I thoroughly loved Christmas. What a wonderful time on Christmas morning I had opening up my presents. I was going to deny that from my children. No, I'm not going to do that. Matter of fact, I didn't. Let me correct myself. I don't think... Okay, I'll put it like this. There was a time where I knew that Christmas and all that was bullshit, but I never put my studies and my learning and my beliefs off on my children. When they were with me, they always had a beautiful, wonderful Christmas. Always. I never said we don't practice Christmas. Never. Even though I knew all the background. I just wasn't willing to forsake their happiness, my children's happiness, for the sake of my education. I just wasn't willing to do it. But I was of the same mindset as many of you all. Christmas is bad. Christmas is wrong. It's a pagan holiday. Blase, blase, blase. But as I began to read and research and put this thing together in my own mind, I realized, as I stated earlier, that the same people that talk bad about Christmas and how bad and how wrong and how pagan it is, they were the same people that believed in, snakes that talk and men that come from dead to alive and all the craziness that we know are improbabilities. All the stuff that's in the Bible that we'll never see in this real world, the people that were condemning the Jesus myth, the Jesus story, and the Jesus narrative, these were the same people that were up and believed that donkeys talk and snakes talk and virgins give birth to babies. And water comes from wine, and water comes from rocks. All of the outlandish, impossible stories in the Bible, these same people, out of one side of their mouth, they were very rational, but out of the other side of their mouth, they still believed in the talking snakes. And when I understood that, it further helped me with my conundrum in, do I practice Christmas or do I not? And I rationalized that if these people who claim to be conscious, awoke, Bible believers can believe that snakes and donkeys can talk in the Bible, then I can celebrate the Christmas spirit. Again, I know all about it. There's nothing you can put in my comment section about the origins of Christmas that I don't already know. Nothing. Not a goddamn thing you can say in my comment section to change my mind on why I should not practice Christmas. And not only that, that's part of my understanding. The other part is this. When I looked around the world And I looked at every religion and every nationality and every group of people, and I saw they all had these mythical, religio-spiritual festivals. Whether it's Yom Kippur of the Jews, Christmas of the Christians, and the stuff that practices in Islam, the month of the month of fasting, what they call that month. No matter what I looked at, I noticed that every people on earth, every nation and every people had high holy days, sacred days, festivals that were theirs and theirs alone, and no one could tell them that they were inauthentic. And then here comes the people, black folk, African Americans, brought here through slavery, had one of the hardest, as a people, had one of the hardest struggles known in the annals of human history. And now we are being told we can't celebrate Christmas. We can't celebrate Thanksgiving. We're given all the reasons why it's wrong. Every other nation has free reign to practice their holy holidays and festive occasions and shit. But we can't. We gotta be told that it's a white man's religion. It's paganism. Now, I don't feel like teaching so much on this one, but I will tell you this, and I'll back it up. I'll back it up with scholarship in another video. But I will tell you this. If it were not for the pagans and paganism, there would be no Judaism, no Christianity, and no Islam. If it were not for the pagans and paganism, there would be no Torah, there would be no Gospels, there would be no Quran. Do I make myself clear? Now I'll back it up down the road. I don't feel like doing it right now. I just wanted to make kind of a short video. The pagans gave the world religion. The pagans gave the world holidays. The pagans gave the world all that we call high, holy, sacred days of worship. The pagans started that shit. We talk about how pagan Christmas is. We talk about paganism like it's a piece of gum on the bottom of our shoe. But in our ignorance, we don't understand that the pagans are our eponymous mothers and fathers, that the pagans are the progenitors of all of our religions. If it were not for the pagans, we wouldn't have dying and rising gods like Jesus. If it were not for the pagans, we would not have miraculous virgin births like the Virgin Mary. If it were not for the pagans, we wouldn't have symbols like the serpent. And by the way, the serpent in damn near every culture before the biblical narrative was a good guy. The serpent represented wisdom, eternal life, wise counsel, and procreation. It wasn't until the Jews, the Hebrews, or the Israelites got hold of the archetypal good guy serpent and turned him in the opposite direction. And he shows up in Genesis chapter 3 as the great deceiver of humanity. But before that, and outside of the Bible's evil polemic on the serpent, The serpent was great and good in Akkad, in Sumer, in Egypt, in Babylon. The serpent was great. Just a note. When you begin to read more and really read without inflecting your religio-spiritual views, you start to realize that Christmas is okay. It's okay. Christmas did not affect my adulthood. I have nothing but great and fond memories about Christmas as a child and even Christmas as an adult. I've gotten some wonderful gifts as an adult through Christmas. And so I'm going to close here, but I may come back and talk more about Christmas. But I just wanted to make some common sense of Christmas. There's nothing you can tell me about the origins of Christmas. I know it all. Trust me. I read all the works. I know the Christmas and how, going back to people like Emperor Constantine and solidifying the dates of Christmas and Christmas being mixed up with Saturnalia and Brumalia and, the winter solstice and the Roman calendar. I know all about it. I know that Santa Claus is a fictional character based on the life of Bishop Nicholas of Myra, a great bishop of the Catholic Church whose mission was to help children and orphans and shit like that. There's nothing you can tell me about the origins of Christmas. But as long as you believe that a snake can talk, virgins can give birth without sex, as long as you can believe in these Bible myths, for me, just have a seat. Just this time of year, just be quiet. Just leave Santa. Leave the Santa and Christmas myth alone. If you believe in the Bible stuff, the miracles in the Bible, just sit down and have a seat or two. Just be quiet during this festive occasion and allow those of us that want to be around our loved ones, family, and friends and exchange gifts, allow us to do what we do. We aren't going to hell. All that is just religious mumbo-jumbo garbage bullshit. Just sit down and be quiet. If you don't believe in going to grandmama and them house and mom and them house and having Christmas dinner and taking a gift to the family and maybe receiving a gift, seeing your uncles and aunts and nieces and nephews on this one day of the year. If you don't believe in the spirit of Christmas, the love of family getting together, if you don't, just have a seat and be quiet this Christmas. We don't need you to make any videos telling us year after year after year about the origins of Christmas. We know this. So fucking what? It's not a bad thing to teach that. I teach the origins of it. But to try to take that teaching and impose it on a culture and a lifestyle and do away with traditions that are great and fun and familial is bullshit. That's all I'm saying. Let Christmas live. Let Christmas live. And shame on any of you parents out there. My last word. Shame on any of you parents out there who had a great Christmas as a child yourself, but you won't let your child have a Christmas. I say that to my own. I got my own son. I say shame on him. I love my son dearly. I respect his Hebrew Israelite religion. But I still say shame on my own son. Because he had some great Christmases. And now, as a Hebrew Israelite, his 4 beautiful children don't have Christmas. They won't miss what they never had. But as time goes along, those children will see people in the neighborhood on that day with brand new sneakers and brand new dresses and brand new pants and brand new bicycles. They're going to see it. And they're going to wonder, what's up with mom and dad? But that's just where My son is, and many of you are in this evolutionary journey to God. I say shame on people for holding captive the children and the imaginations of children just because you learned some shit. It's great that you learned some shit. But I think these people, these Bible toters that won't practice Christmas, who have had a Christmas themselves, that won't allow their children to experience the joy of Christmas, they forget 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I thought like a child. I acted like a child. I did childish shit. And it's childish for children to believe in Santa. It's age-appropriate behavior for children to believe in childish things like Santa Claus and reindeer. It's age-appropriate behavior. But we learn, we grow up and we read books and we superimpose old people, grown people stuff that's not age-appropriate for children. We impose it on our children as some, I don't want my children to be fed lies. It's not a lie, it's called a fable. It's called mythology. It's called the imagination. The imagination is a tool that allows children to grow up and to learn and cognate and believe in the impossibility of things and the possibilities of things. Things that are never dreamed of have ever come to fruition. The imagination of children say, I can make that. I can create that. Something that's never been created. That's how we got to be able to have airplanes. From the imagination. From nothingness to something. From a thought. You niggas is too hard on our children when you deny them the imagination of things like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. You think you're doing a good thing, but you are actually indirectly stunting their imagination and their mental growth and their ability to believe in the abstract. The abstract, X. What's the value of X? Algebra. Children think in abstraction. Children can think of things that are not even yet invented. But when you take away their imagination and stunt it by telling them there is no Santa, we don't do Christmas, you're not doing a good thing. You're doing a bad thing. Go back and read 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I thought like a child. Let the children think like children, and you think like an adult. Don't think like an adult and take your adult ways and make the children think in terms of adult ways. That's the ignorance of those of us that find a book or two. We find a book or two in our late 20s, in our 30s and 40s. We find some shit that's true. And we want to take an ideal that took us 35, 40 years to learn. And we want to impose it on a 7-year-old. Oh, I found out that Christmas is bad at 30. Now, you children, no more Christmas for you. I found out that Christmas is a pagan holiday at 40. No more Christmases for the babies. Because I found out. That's what we do. We impose our adultness on the imagination of children. And when we take away Halloween and Christmas and the imagination of these kinds of things, we are imposing adult ideals on children. And I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. It's Christmas until the death. When you put down the Bible and stop believing in all those crazy Bible stories that make no sense, maybe I'll stop believing in Santa. But until then, have a Merry Christmas Happy holidays. From my family to your family. Merry Christmas.